welcome back to another episode of On The Court podcast. Today is going to be a bit of more of a shorter episode. I've only got a couple of topics to cover because let's be honest, the NBA season in the last couple of weeks has been a bit here or there. It's a lot of players going into health and safety protocols. There's postponement now of a lot of games coming up, all this sort of stuff. It's made for a bit of a weird week, but there is still some stuff to talk about. And being that I follow the Lakers and I'm a Russell Westbrook fan, I'm going to be talking about the Lakers to start off with. Well, I'm also going to talk about what I think about the whole health and safety protocols in terms of what I think the NBA should maybe consider. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of not here or there. They're going to make the decision they're going to make that they feel is best. It's not for me to say what they should be doing. And then we're going to kind of wrap up with talking about the MVP race and if that has changed a little bit, because in my eyes, one candidate has strengthened their case. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first with the Lakers. So I watched them win, obviously, in OKC. Awesome. I was happy. Yes, it's against OKC, but after the type of season we've had, I'm going to take any win we can get. I'll take close wins. I'll take blowouts. I'll take wins in overtime. I don't really care. I'll take any win at this point so we can get some momentum, especially waiting until everyone get back on our team. But at the end of the day, it's still OKC. But at the end of the day, also, they did beat us twice. So it's kind of like, yeah, we had to have that win. So I watched them win in OKC. Awesome. I'm ecstatic. We watched them win in Magic, against the Magic in Orlando. Awesome. I'm happy about that as well. Then we lose against the Wolves, okay, in classic fashion, similar to what they did to us last time. I don't know what it is, but we just can't seem to overcome the Wolves. And they didn't even have Anthony Edwards, okay? The Ant wasn't even playing, but we lost. It was not fun, but we lost. I had to go through that, I had to watch it, and yeah, it wasn't fun. And then I watched the last night, okay? Well, yesterday for us here in Australia, I watched them versus the Chicago Bulls. And honestly, despite the fact that there were so many turnovers, enough for a bake sale, despite the fact that we were just not executing on the free throw line, overall it felt like a lot more of a better game. I can't pinpoint because, like I said, I'm not an expert at this, but there's just something flowed better. We just played better as a team, and things actually were firing off in a lot better than they have in previous games. But we still lost in the end, and that was what was so demoralizing about it, was because we were there at the end. I thought we were going to win, and then it just, DeMar DeRozan happened, fourth quarter DeMar DeRozan, and then they got themselves to win. Chicago overcame us. And the biggest, obviously, yeah, we can talk about the biggest issue. They turned the ball over heaps. I think it was, 20 turnovers if I'm mistaken. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but around 20 turnovers. And we just couldn't execute on the free throw line. That's going to be, in a close game like that, that's going to be the recipe that makes us lose. Now, how do we fix free throw shooting? Well, at the end of the day, we don't have, some of the superstars on our team are not the best free throw shooters. That's just the reality of it. But obviously, there seems to be a bit of a slump for the last couple of games. So I think they're going to bounce back out of that. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. But still, the turnovers. Is this because there's so many different lineups coming through? Like we were so shortchanged last night. Most of our team, most of our starters weren't there. We just had LeBron and Russell Westbrook trying to keep things afloat. We had Ariza coming back, who I felt played pretty reasonably well. You can tell on the defensive side how he can make that impact. It was his first game out. IT's hustling. He's playing actually quite well. I'm quite impressed with what he's doing. Although I feel like they're putting him into a point guard position a bit too much. I think that they should maybe make him more of a spot-up shooter, or just a clear shooting guard, not a point guard. We should keep the point guard thing onto Russell Westbrook, onto LeBron James, onto Rondo. That's who we should have as the point guard, making the flow of the game go. But that's not here or there. It's just one game. We'll see how that goes. But at the same time, it's a bit of a rocky situation because we've got AD out now. Although, to be honest, it's unfortunate to say, but it seems that things flow a lot better when AD's not there. I don't know. It's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Okay. Maybe I'm looking at it for a different context, but I'm just seeing things flow a little bit better when AD is not on the floor. But we also just have all these different lineups. I'm just waiting for everyone to be healthy, more or less everyone at least. Everyone's back from health and safety protocols, and we're just back to start meshing and start getting some practice under our belts to see how we play that. Because now we've got Ariza back. I'm not sure how far Nana is away, but I'm sure he's going to be, anytime soon now, hopefully. And then we've got all the other main players coming back. We've got Avery Bradley, we've got THT, we've got Dwight back, all that sort of stuff. I'm waiting for them to come back to see how we play. But it's not looking good, the fact that now we have to verse the Suns, who honestly, I'll be being optimistic, but I have a feeling our spanking's in order. The Suns are just playing really, really good team basketball. And now that Devin Booker's back, they're not even shortchanging in any capacity. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not optimistic about it. The Nets, the fact that now we've got KD and health and safety protocols, James Harden's there as well. I have a feeling we can probably beat the Nets, but it's not the matchup I was looking forward to, okay? It's not the Christmas matchup I was looking forward to watching. I was looking for just the juggernaut of the game, just going against each other, and it seems that that's not what we're going to get. So be it. What can we do about that? Nothing really, but we'll see how that goes. And then after that, I think we've got the Spurs and stuff, which we should be able to win. But we've got a couple of potential definitely tough game with the Suns, but then we'll see how the Nets go. So we really needed that win in Chicago, especially how close it was. But even though I was demoralized at the end of it, and honestly, this episode was supposed to come out yesterday, but I couldn't bring myself, I just didn't have the energy afterwards to go and record it. Even though then I kind of thought about it, and I was like, hey, there were some clear positives to grab from it. Our defense is a lot better now. Yesterday watching it, our defense was a lot better. Yes, we had some mishap there with LeBron, blocked DeRozan, and then we couldn't get a rebound from it, and he got a second-hand shot and did what DeMar does in the fourth quarter and becomes Kobe, essentially, and then he gets scores. Things like that I watched, but at the overall, what I've seen the last couple of games or so, not so much of the Bulls. The Wolves that was a horrible game for us. We just weren't executing on the boards. Nothing was working for us. But the last game that I watched against the Chicago Bulls, I saw a lot more efficient defensive basketball. That's a positive I can grab. The other thing is, I don't know if it's just me just looking at it through a lens, just not in a nutshell, the one game, but is it just me, or did Fizdale get a very short-changed and defensively diminished Lakers team who have been struggling and got them to potentially win against a pretty back to normal Chicago Bulls? I know they have a few players out, but let's be honest. The only player really that's out that would have impacted them would have been Levine. The rest of them were back. I didn't even realize the rest of us. It just slipped my mind. I thought it was going to be us against Caruso and against Lonzo Ball. I didn't realize the other players were back. Okay, actually, no, DeRozan, I think I heard in the morning that he was back, so I was like, okay, it's going to be a tougher match. But Levine was the only one that was out, whereas we had a lot of players out, so there was a bit of a different situation. And Fizdale got us to potentially win that. Now, is that just looking at one game in a nutshell, or is that something to suggest to us that Vogel just isn't doing the right rotations, the right lineups to get us to team success? I don't know. I've said it time and time again, the whole coaching thing, it's something that I'm learning on the ropes. It's not something that I'm so well versed into that I can really make a judgment on, yeah, it's Vogel's fault here. At the end of the day, I am a firm believer at the end of the day, players will execute what they can execute, but we'll see. There was some promise just watching Fizdale coach because of the fact that we could actually push a Chicago Bulls team to potentially winning that game. But it is what it is, okay? Like I said, there's not really much I can really say because our team right now is a whole bunch in health and safety protocols. I'm slurring my words today. And then we've got a couple of players who are injured as well, especially AD being injured. It's a bit of an uncertainty because at the end of the day, no matter what I say, he's going to be a pillar of the team. And if he's not there, if he's not meshing for 4 weeks, what if we get onto a good run and then he comes back? We'll see. We'll see how we go. But that's what I want to talk about the Lakers. Now let's move on to the whole COVID situation with the NBA season. Do I think that we should get it back into a bubble? No, I really don't. And do I think that we'll get into it? No, I think I saw a tweet this morning where it said there's no chance that's happening. And honestly, I get it why from a financial point of view. I completely get it. Okay, running my own business, I get that side of things as well. But also, it's just, I hope that it doesn't get to that. Because the bubble was good and all for what it was. We had to adapt to that situation. But it just didn't have the same energy. It just didn't have that same X factor that the NBA has when it's just in a bubble. So fingers crossed we don't get to that. But what I do think they should maybe consider is after, I know they're not going to do it before the Christmas, so I'm not even going to talk about, they should do it because I know it's not going to be realistic. But after Christmas, maybe we postpone games for a week or two to let things settle down a bit and see what's going on so that we don't risk half or more of the leagues going into health and safety protocols. Because now we've got a whole bunch of stars going into it. And in itself, that's going to affect the product, which is the NBA. People are not going to come and watch games if they're not watching the best players. That's just how it works. So that's just saying maybe they could consider what I feel maybe is probably the most viable option. But I'm just fingers crossed that it kind of just mellows out, that it's just a little bit of a blip, and then it's going to mellow out. So we'll see. But that's kind of my thoughts around that. How much is this impacting the NBA? Well, I'll take heaps. I mean, we're watching teams where essentially more than half of the players that are on the field, we don't really even know. And that becomes an issue if that continues going on longer and longer. And because it's so random, like people go into health state protocols and then they'll show up negative next day and come back and play. So it's all just erratic. You never know who's in and out for longer periods of time or who's going to get out and play. I was ecstatic when I heard Westbrook could play against the Wolves. We ended up losing that game like crazy, but I was happy that I could watch him. So things like that, we'll just see how it goes. But my thoughts are maybe consider just a break, even just a week, just to see how things go. That's my thoughts. Now, on to the final topic for today is the MVP race. Has it changed for me? For me, Jokic has now gone above Giannis. I just feel like he has. I mean, just the numbers he's putting up, and I get the team's record's not that high, but I don't care. I'm just going to put it out there and say he's having an amazing season, and you could argue that he could be in the upper spots, but because I still have to consider a bit the team's success, I'm going to put him down to third. So Jokic is now well and truly in third, and now, like last time, I said KD was number one and Steph was number two. That stays the same, except with one change. KD has now strengthened his MVP candidacy. He has. I mean, I've watched the games where he plays, he just takes over. When he's shortchanged, it's just him and a few, role players against teams that are playing well, and he gets them through. He's just playing unbelievably good basketball at the moment, and I can't say anything further than that, despite the fact how good Steph is being, how historically good of a season compared to what he has in the past done, how well his team's playing, all this sort of stuff. I can't dispute the fact that KD has been playing amazing MVP level basketball and at the same time keeping a shortchanged team afloat at first place in the East Conference. Okay, so for me, that's the MVP kind of little update. KD is now well and truly number one. We'll see how the season keeps going. Number two is still Steph Curry, and number three now Jokic, for me, has gone up above Giannis. It's just what it is. Not going to talk about Defensive Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year. Those have stayed pretty much the same to the previous episode. So if you haven't watched that, listened to that, go and listen to that episode and you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, for MVP, KD, firmly number one, followed by Steph Curry, and followed by Jokic, who's now slipped into that third spot for me because he's just playing amazing, efficient basketball. That's my thoughts. Okay, so that's today's episode. Until next time, talk to you soon. See you later, and see you on the court.